Season 8, Episode 9, Non-Compete Clause. Which sounds like a good episode for if they had been doing this around Christmas. Then it would, but that would probably be a Applejack rarity thing or something. Anyway, yeah, this is a Applejack and Rare and Rainbow Dash episode, which
It must be tiring arguing with yourself.
I know, right? Well, it depends. Actually, it can be kind of fun. I do that all the time.
yeah, this was Ball got her episode's worth of FaceTime in this one.
So you're saying this episode was a ball, huh?
It wasn't amazing. I don't think it was quite as good as the last
You
two.
didn't like it because Applejack was wrong.
Well, it's just that, well, to be frank, both of them picked up the idiot ball. This whole Teacher of the Month thing, I mean, they're competitive, yes, but they're not this stupidly competitive. I mean, it's just obsessive levels of this. I mean, I think both of them are better than this. And I know they've got it. This could have been done better as an episode idea with the student 6, where they have to work together to follow, I don't know, a map or something, and they have to figure out how to do everything, and then it's just Applejack and Rainbow Dash sitting back, or just one of them, sitting back and just making sure they don't get into trouble. You know, basically, they've got to do all the puzzle work. They've got to get everything. They got to work together to get past all the obstacles, but they do have one teacher supervising them. So if they come up, they have to check their ideas, but that seems like that would have been a much better use of this, considering you've already built up these, it seems really stupidly, obsessively competitive the way they went after Teacher of the Month. The stupid things they do. It's like, if you were thinking like an nth ahead, at any point, a lot of this doesn't happen. But we'll begin with the beginning and look at the beginning. So they're both wannabe Teacher of the Month, but Fluttershy gets it again, which is a popular vote by the students, which seems a little, that's not going to be exactly conducive.
Go Fluttershy.
Yeah. And assuming Teacher of the Month is handled at the end of the month, the school has been open for 9 months as of this month, with 8 Fluttershy frames and 1 empty with her picture about to be placed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's been going a while.
Yeah. So this is kind of a time skip. But both of them want to run the outdoor teamwork field trip because it's Teacher of the Month sort of thing. Pinkie has her reservations about the choice for those two to do that field trip together. We get this little exchange. Twilight, of course, who better to model the importance of working as a team? Pinkie Pie, Rarity, Fluttershy, me, Spike, this flower pot.
Pinkie is cold but honest.
Well, with the way that the Rainbow Dash and AJ picked up the idiot ball in this episode, yes. They get out to start the field trip, and apparently they had not communicated in the slightest about what they planned for the field trip, which that seems to be, that's, you don't do that. You have to communicate what you're going to do. Otherwise, if you'd spent 10 seconds after that deciding, at least if they had argued about it, away from the students before they got there, that would have been one thing. But like, they just like show up and, yeah, we're going to do this. Oh, yeah, we're going to do that. And they had not communicated in the slightest. Now there's a very, the apple shed bit of it is actually, that's more AJ, normal AJ on that regard, in that, slow and steady wins the race. Haste makes waste. Measure twice, cut once. It seems like that's a very AJ thing to do, and get him to. They seem to be actually working together quite efficiently, for what experience they have.
Well, what went wrong is AJ didn't sing the Build the Shed song.
Raise this bar. Raise the shed, raise the shed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Together we can raise the shed. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would have been funny, but they'd have to have interrupted it midway, and they wouldn't even have to really redo the music. Just have her re-sing it, but sing it with shed instead of barn. Raise the shed, 1, 2, 3. Together we can raise this shed.
And the Rainbow Dash is 1, 2, 3, 4, done.
Yeah, essentially, Rainbow Dash gets absurdly impatient and sort of kicks together a shed sort of very roughly, and they're, the students are lowering the shed roof on top of it very carefully. They're bringing it down. They're going to put it on there, and it's going to be great. They're working as a team. It's awesome. And she's like, hurry up! And it falls on the roof and just collapses the whole thing. It's like, they were literally like a few seconds from getting this thing onto the roof, and then it would just been a matter of nailing it up. But you're like, no, slap, you can't finish that. It's like, okay, I get Rainbow Dash can be impatient. She can be impatient at times. She's not that impatient. And, it's just, it's just another picking up the idiot ball. And then they go off and openly argue about the Teacher of the Month thing in front of the class. It's like, really? You're that childish? But yeah, our Rainbow Dash at this point is rushing everything. She won't even let Yona ask questions, and it seems like Yona is afraid of the water for good reason, because we find out later as she gets
Yak don't swim.
Yeah, yaks don't swim, or at least Yona doesn't, because well, I mean, in a way it makes sense given that they live up in the frozen north. There's not really a lot of liquid water, so
Fur make yak too waterlogged.
perfectly suited for the cold climate, but yeah, maybe it would make them a little heavy, because the whole idea of hair is to trap air and make little air pockets to insulate. But yeah, anyway, so two halves of the canoe are pulling in opposite directions, and so the canoe gets stalled, which says that both of their techniques are equally useful, though AJ seems to be a lot kinder. Rainbow Dash is just screaming at them, stroke, stroke, stroke. She's like, Applejack's like, okay, focus on your technique. You can do this. He's just like, we're just stroke, 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 stroke. Which, if they had discussed this again, if they had discussed this for a second, Applejack would know which way they were going and could have directed the students to row in the right direction. Though she should have seen what Rainbow Dash was doing and gone, oh, we're going that way. Stroke that way. Again, both of them had a handle on the idiot ball this week.
Also, with that one, even with what they were doing there, the canoe would end up going in circles.
If they all
They were all on the
same side, they were, which is good for TV, but bad for directions, because
it would end up going in a circle.
Well, the thing is, if nothing else, it would have turned them slightly to the right over time. I mean, eventually, if they had a big enough body of water, they would make a complete circle, but it would at least pull it off to the right. And that would, if they had done that, they would have pulled right into the right, the right fork in the road, in the river, and none of this would be a problem. if they had been realistic about how that's going to work, they would probably be fine because they'd be on the right side of the river.
Or just crash into the wall.
Yeah, depending on how severe that turn is.
I mean, I know it's a really long canoe, so the turn wouldn't be as sharp, but it's still going to have an extreme curvature.
Yeah, it just depends on how extreme that is. How much they're letting the current push them, and how much they're they're actually putting in. So the Rainbow Dash, being rash, wants to go left through the pony eating fish, we learned later, and Applejack wants to go through the right way that's going to be safe. But the fish are faster, but you're going to get bitten by fish. So yeah, it should have gone right. But they argue about it so much, they just end up just crashing right into the rock. Forks the path, to which the canoe completely disintegrates, and Yona gets caught on a branch and loses her life jacket, which was it's like that's one of those things that the safety measures that I'm sure they have people that are in standards and practices are like, yeah, all the students are gonna be wearing life jackets because we want to model that good behavior. But Yona's gonna almost drown. Which is prevented by just the life jacket. And she's not going anywhere quick, but she's at least not going to sink. And then so they had to find a way to say, oh yes, they did their best. They took the safety precautions, but things happened and Yona lost her life jacket, which you think she would have just grabbed hold of a piece of wood or something, but it was all disintegrated. So at this point, Silverstream and Oscillus change and rescue Yona from drowning. At this point, the Applejack and Rainbow Dash set to arguing again, to which Twilight chews them out in front of the students, bring up how the teacher of the month wouldn't care about competing if it hurt the learning. She threatens to take over the trip, but they convince her to give them another shot. It's like, you couldn't do this away from the kids, huh? At this point, it gets more annoying. Their behavior gets more annoying because they,
Oh no, after you. Oh no, I assist after you.
yes, because now instead of being rash but decisive, they're indecisive and not really giving it any thought, just saying, oh, no, you, no, you, no, you, you first, no, you first. And so nothing ever gets done, and so everybody gets frustrated, and they end up going in a circle. Eventually, Smolder, they come to a kind of a cliff, and Smolder, I think it was Smolder, checks ahead and figures out where they need to go. Which you'd think that after the first time they circled, somebody would have said something and go, hey, can we just fly up? We have a handful of flyers here, or a full of flyers here. I mean, you got Dash, Smolder, Oscillus can fly if she wants to, and Gallus all can fly. Oh, and Silverstream. It's like a good chunk of the students and professors here can fly. We can just fly up and see where we're going and point ourselves in the right direction. But eventually they do that, and so then we come to the final bit. They go indecisive again about what materials to build the bridge out of. Rainbow builds out of sticks and AJ out of vines. Both collapse and the two get stuck in a ball together, dangling. Like,
Yeah, I can kind of see how AJ made her vine bridge,
I
but
was
it's
thinking
a talent with those sticks.
that scene.
what'd you say, Doc? I couldn't hear you over.
That ball they ended up in reminded me of the
A certain
cannibal
pirate?
ball. Pirates of the Caribbean, the cannibal ball.
Yes.
It was made out of the bones.
Yeah, they didn't want to really do bones. It's like, oh, sticks, that'll work.
Well, I mean, the bones of damn, I forget those creatures' names. These timberwolves, bones of timberwolves.
Technically,
There you
I
go.
suppose. So Oscillus distracts the deadly fish by scaring them off, and by changing into a flying, basically mouth of a fish. At which point, Silverstream and Gallus catch them just in time and drag them up to the cliff again. And then Yona smash. I like Yona smash. Yona smash, good. So they make it back to the school, and the students thank their teachers for intentionally showing them the wrong way to handle teamwork. The kids pressed for them to be the next teachers of the month, but Twilight sees right through that, and they end the episode arguing.
In other words, I didn't learn a damn thing.
Well, it just felt like in order to make this conflict work with the characters that they chose to make this conflict work off of, they had to really hand them an idiot ball, and they could have done this so much. This could have been so much more interesting, I think, as a Student 6 episode with either Applejack or Rainbow Dash just watching out for them. It's like, you're going to build the bridge, and you decide how you want to do it, and we'll check. You can check with me, and then we'll do that, or we'll give you advice, but you need to come to terms with leadership and such. Who's going to lead you and whatnot, and then you have to decide amongst yourselves, and that sort of thing, where they have to learn to work together, decide on a leader, do all that, organize in a way that they can do stuff.
And I gotta say, I think my new favorite character is that Griffin.
Gallus.
Like, yeah, it's like, what are we gonna do? Let them drop? Kidding! Mostly.
But yeah, this wasn't an amazing episode. Again, yeah, my recommendation: Student 6 doing this episode would have been a much more interesting episode, and would have made a lot more sense with something like Gallus and Smolder trying to compete to be leaders, but they end up everybody gets tired of them arguing, and they vote for Oscillus to be the leader, and she's so meek that she just like okay. But and then so she gets a chance to show her confidence. I am, I am the leader. Listen to me, da 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 da, and she starts giving out, directions and whatnot. And that seems like that would have been a much cooler episode to teach the same moral of teamwork and watching out for competitiveness, because it'll just bite you in the butt if you let it go too much. A little competitiveness is good. Too much, you get this episode. Well, that plus stupidity. Any other thoughts on this one?
It wasn't the worst episode of the season, but
It was
really,
up there.
they're really great episodes this season so far. So
we had the last two were pretty good, I think, but
they were okay. But I mean,
I guess compared to what the rest of it was,
this season has been pretty weak so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just needs a Discord episode.
It does.
Well, and the thing is also, just to be forewarned, they have released like some weird another distributor like Treehouse or whatever it did last season. They've released a few more episodes like ahead of.
Oh yeah, no, I found like I saw that there's like, and it's funny because they're not all in order. There's like a handful of the episodes, not like 5, 6, 7 or whatever. It's like 8, 3, 8, 7, 12, 15 or something like that. Just a handful of them.
They've reheated it, but. Yeah, it's like just put out the episode week after week like you're supposed to. And all this doesn't happen. It's like anyway, final thoughts on non-compete clause?
Wasn't terrible, wasn't good. It was what it was.
I don't think it was on the bad end of things.
Yeah, but I mean, they all have been this season. Like, really, I wasn't fond of any of them this season.
I mean, at least they have been.
Yeah, I did actually kind of like the mod brother one and the mod boyfriend one.
Yeah,
that was actually good. But
I mean, at least
the rest, they mostly just sucked.
I mean, at least they haven't found an excuse to start singing "Shoo Shoo Be Doo."
Oh, I want them to do that. It'd be funny for a few
Yeah,
seconds. If nothing else, but to annoy other people. Shoo-be-doo, shoo-shoo-be-doo. Go up on the sea harmonies when you're in distress. Yeah, that's way above my range, so I'm not going to try it any further. Because otherwise, it would be it would be a like an octave lower or something in order to get it in my range, and then it sounds like shoo-be-doo, shoo-shoo-be-doo.
What did you say something? I muted you.
Anyway, all right. Well, I guess that's the end of that chapter.